Hey, 40K family, how's it going? Look, welcome to the studio at the bottom of the world where we set up for some of 40K today. I record my part here in New Zealand, and then the rest of it happens between the States and Canada with John Damaris and Tonya and Seamus and Alex. It's a big international team effort, and we're about to go for Monday's show, so let's do this.
This is 40K Today. 40K news so important, the Emperor of Mankind once called it the other Primarch. Hiya 40K family and welcome to 40K Today. It's Star Wars Day. We'll get that out of the way right away. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, I know, it's old and you already knew about it, but we had to acknowledge it. Today, we have a big announcement as we welcome a new member to the 40K Today team. Someone who's already making big waves in the world of 40K and is all set to bring great content to you. Also on today's show, regular Alex Bader runs through some of the big reveals and releases from the weekend, and we're going to check in with Trevi from Tactical Tortoise about the huge TTS tournament he's running. It's going so well, and there's a way for you to see all the action as it happens. I'm your host, Steve Joel, and our first thing to do is a poll question. It's live on our Facebook page. Let's kick things off with that. Our 40K Today poll today is this. Have you tried playing the game on Tabletop Simulator yet? And how's it working out for you? So far, we've got a lot of positive comments. People who are taking part in tournaments right now, people who are enjoying playing against friends outside of the area. We want to hear from you, though, good and bad experiences. Have you tried, yes or no? That's the poll question up on our Facebook page right now. That is 40K Today. Now, we have a big announcement to make. Over the weekend, we welcomed a new member to our tight little 40K Today team, a woman who has a growing reputation in the game for producing quality content. She's been invited to take part in some of the biggest 40K events, and in fact, as we went to air, had just done a huge live stream with a group of other content creators called Warhammer 2020. John Damaris rolled out the red carpet to welcome Tonya Gates, a.k.a. the War Mistress.
Okay, Tanya, or better known as the War Mistress. You know, you've been a guest in the past, and we've certainly enjoyed having you. I think you were our first woman in Warhammer, so that was awesome. But we have big news. You are joining the 40K Today team to help with social media. So why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself, and then let's talk about maybe some of the things that you have in the works that I think are pretty cool.
All right. Well, I am mostly focused on Instagram for my own personal sort of journey. I'm known as the War Mistress there, and I sort of document my painting as well as my journey into playing ITC. So I've been playing for about a year. I've been documenting my painting for about, I think, 16 months or so, and it's going really well. I've built a really big community of really amazing people around myself there, and I'm just sort of having fun with it.
Yeah, well, welcome to the team. We're excited to have you because, you know, I don't really need to explain this, but I'm going to. But we're a little bit socially media inhibited. Is that a good way to put it? So having somebody that has a little bit of experience with a lot of passion like we do, I mean, that's the big thing that we picked up from is you have as much passion as everybody else on this team. And so it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And then let's talk about what are some of the new initiatives you've already bringing to the table. You know, I know we're going to do something really cool with very coolly painted models. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. So as a team, we sort of decided that we would like to have a sort of model of the day or mini of the day. So it's something that you guys, I think, are going to talk about on the podcast, and then we're also going to feature across our social media. So this might be just an amazing model that we've come across. It might be maybe a listener sort of wants theirs shown off. Maybe we might do that. And we've actually already started by showing off your personal models that you had commissioned.
Right. Yeah, because I look, number one, I can't paint. I have no artistic talent. I can't draw a circle, a straight line, or a square. So having somebody paint for me is kind of a big deal. And that was Stiff Neck Studios, by the way. And if you get a chance, go ahead and go out to our Facebook. You can see some pictures of my models. They're beautiful. I mean, they're stunning. And yeah, you can just check them out. And then you should also check out Stiff Neck Studios because they are one of the best painting services on the planet. They're fantastic. And then we're starting out something else new where we're going to get some more engagement going with the community where you guys can actually have sort of a say in what goes on in the show. So you want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah. So on our Facebook, we're going to be running weekly sort of polls where we're going to ask our listeners just different questions about different aspects of the hobby. And you guys can weigh in and tell us what you actually think. And then if you could also sort of elaborate a little bit in the comment section, it would be really interesting for us. And we would actually like to highlight some of those comments that you leave for us on the podcast as well.
Yep. Very cool. All right, Tonya, thanks for joining us. And we're looking forward to great things on the team.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have Tonya on the team. Already she's bringing new ideas, making our social media great, and getting the rest of us running. Okay, let's find out what else was going on over the weekend in our hobby. As usual, content producer Alex Painter has been keeping a close eye on all of it. Let's hear him break it down with John.
All right, Alex, it was another exciting weekend in the world of Warhammer 40,000. Let's talk about a few things that you noticed that sort of came out over the weekend. I saw that you saw a real quality lore piece from Chapter Master Valrak. You want to tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, so Chapter Master Valrak is a huge Imperial Fist fan, and he did a video going through like the breakdown of their companies and their just chapter organization. It's really cool because he like lists off all the different characters and their roles in the chapter.
Cool. So it's a good way to sort of get a feel for like the military organization of the Imperial Fist. So if you have any interest in that, it's worth checking out. We'll definitely put a link in the show notes. Also, coming out this weekend, they had a teaser for a new Play on Tabletop video. And it's I think it's for their 40K and 40 Minutes series, which is excellent. If you haven't checked that out, you definitely could. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so that battle is going to be between the Necrons and Blood Angels. A really good match there. And it's going to be a 1,750 point game, which is a little odd, but still cool.
Yeah, very cool. And if you haven't checked them out, they have the highest quality video content that I've seen as far as like streamed 40K games. They're fantastic. And then the last thing we want to talk about is an option for people to kind of follow if they want to make some more terrain for use at home or maybe even at their game store. What was that all about, Alex?
Yeah, so the YouTube channel Wylock's Armory. He does a lot of great terrain building videos using like recycled material. And he put out a video doing like a factory kind of building using old cans and like pipes and stuff. It's a really great video.
Cool. And is there anything else on that? Like, you know, you said they did a whole factory, but is there a bunch of videos for doing terrain at home?
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of videos. Like he does a lot of Dungeons and Dragons builds, a lot of 40K builds. Yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff using a lot of like recycled material or like really easily available, readily available material.
Cool. So if you guys are looking for additional content to check out, it sounds like Wylock's Army might be for you.
It's Alex Bainter, and for the links to everything that Alex was just talking about, check our show notes, as always. Next up on the program, tabletop simulator tournaments are popping up all over the place. There are folks leading the charge in the move to playing competitive 40K online, and one of those people is Trevor from Tactical Tortoise. We speak to him next.
Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org.
Welcome back to 40K Today. Long-time listener and regular contributor to 40K Today, Trevor from the Tactical Tortoise YouTube channel, is running a tabletop simulator tournament right now. It's competitive 40K online. It's been running a couple of weeks, and things are starting to get really exciting now in the tournament. Over the weekend, Trevi was shoutcasting a match featuring the one and only Don Hooson. John Damaris spoke to Trevi about how the tournament is shaping up and who's doing well.
All right, Trevi, Mr. Tactical Tortoise himself. I understand that you started a small TTS tournament that has absolutely blown up. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's been crazy. We started what we're going to call the Tactical Tortoise Tabletop Simulator Tournament, and it was going to be a little 16-person event, and to give away a Chaos Army, and all of the spots for that went away in 2 hours, and we continued to get requests for more tournaments, so we've turned it into a whole series.
Cool. Well, let's talk about that. How many people do you have currently playing in this series of tournaments?
So currently, we just launched pod number 6, and each pod's a 16-person tournament. So we're looking at it's around 106 applications. There's a little bit of overlap in there, so there's probably 60 or 70 people currently in the event. But the Discord that we're running it out of, I just did my math wrong. So it'd be 96 applications. And so it's probably 60 or 70 individuals in the event. And the Discord that we're running it out of that we started last week already has broken 120 members. So, and with more applications pouring in every day.
Right. So people, the big takeaway from this is people should understand that if you want to play, you'll just open more pods to make room for them. Is that kind of how it's working?
Yeah. Yep. Basically, we're trying to open 2 pods per week. But based on demand, that number may increase in the future. We'll see how it goes.
Right. So how many are you playing in currently?
So I'm just playing in pod 1 right now. Unfortunately, haven't had time to jump into many more. We've been live streaming as many games as we possibly can over on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/tacticaltortoise. And so I've been doing a lot of live commentary and just live streaming as much Tabletop Simulator 40K as I can fit in my schedule.
Very cool. So let's talk about, you've got some pretty big names in your tournament, right?
Yeah. So we have a couple pods that have some pretty interesting competition in them. We just streamed a game with Don Husin, obviously Chaos Extraordinaire, playing his new Death Guard list that has 40 Plague Marines in it.
Chaos Space Marine player, really? I mean, that's kind of his bag, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a wicked game. That was against a pure Thousand Suns army. So actually Chaos really coming out of the woodwork, and we're seeing a ton of Chaos showing up on all of these pods.
Interesting. So quick question, not to get sidetracked from talking about, some pretty big names in the tournament, but have you noticed, like, are lists more interesting because there's no like being restricted by what you own? So are people trying some pretty wacky stuff or doing some really cool stuff?
Yeah, so there's definitely been a lot more experimentation than you'd see in a normal event. So we've seen a lot of night lists that I think people wouldn't normally play. We've seen a lot of we saw the Lord of Skulls list. We streamed a game with that, the triple Lord of Skulls. That player I think was considering playing that list and was trying it out in the tournament to see how it went. We've seen a bunch of pretty wacky combo lists. One of our pod 2, I believe, has a Stompa in it. So that's pretty fun. We streamed a 9 Mephitic Blightholler list the other day. So lots of really interesting lists, sort of popping out that people are just trying to try out. But then also people are really digging into all of the new releases that they haven't necessarily had the chance to, get on their painting table yet. So we announced just a couple days ago that we would be using the new Deathwatch rules before the White Dwarf released. And immediately a lot of pods just filled up with Deathwatch and Adeptus Astartes soup lists. Nice.
That's very interesting. So quick question. With all of this, like, activity, like, how are you balancing all of that? Because you're like organizing all of these pods, right? And playing in one and streaming a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Like, is that causing any trouble for you? Like, not all heroes wear capes, right? But this is kind of a pretty big effort, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm quarantined right now, so I don't have much else to do. But I am I'm spending probably between 8 and 10 hours a day on this whole thing. But like I said, I don't have anywhere to go. So
you're just serving the community and doing something fun. Well, thank you very much for that, Trevi. You guys should definitely go check it out. We'll have a link in the show notes. No reason not to sign up. I guess the last question is, do you guys help people who are learning TTS? Is that a big problem, or do they need to sort of know what they're doing before they sign up?
So yeah, the community that we generated in the Discord is actually very welcoming, and there's a lot of members in there who will hop on and help people out. Right now, we don't have sort of a process to teach people Tabletop Simulator. There is a dedicated Tabletop Simulator 40K community that I think has some teachers that are a little bit more suited than I am to running through everything. I don't have all the little cool
hotkeys. Yeah.
All the tips and tricks down quite yet. But if you hit it, pop up in our Discord and ask around. We have a looking for group channel. Then absolutely somebody will you'll find somebody to give you a lowdown on the system.
Cool. Would you say that after you've played 1 or 2 games, you're probably good to play in one of these tournaments?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And if you play against someone who is experienced with it, they can show you almost everything, in your first game, and it won't take that long. Usually, you'll find a Tabletop Simulator game. Once you get the hang of it, it takes a little bit longer than a standard game of 40K on the tabletop. It's about 3.5 to 4 hours, but not like significantly longer.
All right. Very cool. Thanks, Trevi.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, John, and hope everybody's staying healthy.
That's Trevi from Tactical Tortoise. If you want to watch along, links to the YouTube channel are in our show notes. Okay, before we go, we want to honor every aspect of our awesome hobby by featuring the great work that people are doing with models that they are lovingly crafting and painting. So every day on the show from here on in, we're going to feature a model of the day. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, by the way, we're on YouTube now. Look us up and you'll be able to see lots of visuals as we go along. You'll see pictures of the model there, and they'll be available on our 40K Today Facebook and Instagram pages. Our first model of the day is the new Gazkul Thrakka by Roy Gonzales on Instagram. This is a stunning explosion of reds and metallic greens with perfect highlights. Thrakka has never looked so good. Roy captures all of the brutality of the beast, but manages to get absolute clarity between every separate element. And at the same time, it's packed with bright colors. Pictures of the model on Roy's Instagram have garnered more than 3,000 likes. Links to his Instagram page are in our show notes. It is well worth a look. And that's it for today. Hey, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. A big thank you to our content producer, Alex Painter, our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, and our brand new team member, Tonya Gates, for all their hard work once again in putting the program together. If you have anything you think we should feature on the show, please get in touch. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook for the 40K Today poll question, pictures of the model of the day, and so much more. We're also on Instagram and YouTube, and we'd love any feedback you have. And make sure you join us tomorrow on the show where we meet Kerry from the 40K Book Club, and John speaks to a real Warhammer hero, the man who moderates one of the biggest 40K Facebook groups there is. It's a lot of work to do for the love of the game. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, for John Damaris, I'm Steve Joel, and that's what's happening in 40K today.